It's Christmas time for Doctor Who and the return of Dr. Mysterio. But not just that, the return of the Doctor Who After Show at AFTERBUZZ TV. Let's get started.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, hey there, Whovians. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm so excited to hear this music, you guys. Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. This is the Doctor Who After Show. I'm joined by a fantastic panel. As always, I've got the lovely Yael Tygiel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yael Tygiel. You can find me at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I am live in the chat reading all of your comments, so keep chatting with me.
And I'm even lovelier, Tauri Miller.
Hey, I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. That's TAURIJAY.
Ouch.
All right.
I'm so fancy.
Nope.
Okay.
They already
All
know.
right. All right, guys. Welcome back. It has literally been a year since we've talked about Doctor Who.
That's insane.
A year. The longest break the show has had since it was off the air in
Really?
2005. According to the AV Club, I was looking at their...
That's a really good
review.
point.
Yeah, because literally, like, there's always at least been episodes, even when there were breaks. But they gave Moffat his extra time for his last season, and now we're here for the return of Dr. Mysterio.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all excited just to have new Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts. I want to know what you guys just thought of the episode, and then we're going to break it down, talk about different plot lines and stuff. And at the end of the show, we are going to talk about that teaser that we got for Series 10. We're going to be breaking that down, taking a look at some of the little hidden gems that may have been in there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I love the character of Grant. I love the character of the Ghost. I think that was the most fun part of the episode. I also really like that this episode tied very clearly with the last episode from a year ago. It was very clearly like the next episode, which is funny because it's been a year. But yeah, I really enjoyed those things. Yeah.
Yeah. I am taking the other perspective in that I really enjoyed the Doctor Who type storyline because it felt really classic Who-y, where we have this threat and the Doctor's running around trying to figure it out, and then on the side he's like dealing with this other thing that's a remnant of his past. You know, I liked all of the mystery pieces and the alien stuff.
I'm gonna be crotchety old 12 on this episode. This episode was a resounding meh for me.
Interesting.
You know, this episode had all the ingredients that it should have been my favorite thing ever. It's Doctor Who, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and superheroes. Like, anyone who's ever listening on any other show knows I'm a huge Marvel nut. I can't stop talking about it until people often tell me to stop talking about it. But this episode just didn't deliver for me anything new to the genre that it was playing with. Mm-hmm. It didn't offer a unique voice from the Doctor Who perspective, except for a few times here and there. I really liked the alien stuff that we were getting. Like, that felt like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like the surgeons coming out and replacing. Like, there's some cool Doctor Who moments in this episode that I absolutely loved, but the overall story just failed to wow me.
I'll say that what I loved most about this is that this was a Christmas special that had nothing to do with Christmas. Like, the only Christmas part was that it opened.
Yeah.
And Grant was a child, and he let him in because he thought he was Santa. That's it. I was like, this is it. We're done with Christmas. Love it. best Christmas special ever.
It was, but like it doesn't. I mean, the Christmas special I think is more about when it's coming. It doesn't always have to be about Christmas.
Yeah, but
Right.
the last few Christmas specials that we had, the last few Christmas specials we had with Matt Smith, for example,
Yes.
were the Christmassiest.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had the Christmas Carol. We had
Town for
Doctor
Christmas.
Wid and what is Doctor
Witch in the Wardrobe. Or,
Widow
yeah,
and that
The
one.
Witch, the
Yes.
Widow, and the Wardrobe.
There was no witch. It was the Doctor, the Widow, and the something.
Yes. Everyone
that
knows
was
what
the
I'm
other
talking
one?
Yes. And we had the one in the town called Christmas, which I
Oh,
forgot.
right, yeah. Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like they're so Christmassy
Yes.
that I really like this flip because the last time we had an episode that was during Christmas and didn't take like Christmas as part of it was when we first met Tennant. When
Yeah.
he first arrived, the Christmas Invasion, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that had like killer Christmas trees in it, so it was still pretty Christmassy.
No,
Yeah.
not the one with because that was the one where he was asleep, and then we had the
Yeah,
ship.
that was the one with the killer pine trees and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, but
Oh, yes.
barely. But then he goes up and he has to, what kind of doctor is he? He doesn't know.
It was focused on the main
Right.
The main part of the story was not Christmas.
It just took place on Christmas.
Yes.
And this one just started on Christmas and went,
I did appreciate that jab early on. It was like, it's not some kind of Christmas invasion.
Yes,
Right,
that's
Ah! That's the title of an episode.
I think the part that really hit home for me was that this child asked permission before letting him in. I went, yes, that is a good child. That is a child who's been trained. You don't just let strangers into your home.
But ultimately he did.
Well, because his parents gave him permission because he was expected.
Right.
Because he was Santa.
Aww.
Yeah. That was where this started to like I thought like, oh, he's expected, setting up crazy Doctor Who timey-wimey nonsense.
That's cute.
And then it was just a Santa gag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got in your own head, bro.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe
just
that
gotta
one
watch
was
it.
on me.
But I will say that baby Grant was the most adorable kid I've seen on TV in a while. Like he was just like he was a really good actor, and also like he was just the right amount of like innocent and adorable to where you're like, man, this kid's so cute, so cute. If it was like Baby Grant the whole time, I would have appreciated that as well.
His first on-screen role.
Yeah, I was
really?
looking
Yeah.
up. He has done nothing else. So amazing performance.
Yeah.
They had at the Fathom event
Oh.
that they showed on the big screen. They did a little making of documentary that they showed afterwards, and they talked about like the first thing he ever did on screen was that moment where they're clinging to the Empire State Building. That was his first day as an actor.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Good for him.
This kid's going places.
I think the Kid Grant and Doctor scenes were my absolute favorite. Like the beginning ones, the ones
Yeah.
where he's in high school, like those were so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that had I love the way that they put superpowers into this universe, because that was something I was not sure how they were going to pull off, because Doctor was a very science. Yes, there's a lot of fantasy about the way that we deal with aliens and things, but
Right.
it's very much science fiction where they take those fantasy elements and try to root it and ground it somehow into this universe that we've created. Loosely, but but they do try to explain it.
try.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it makes sense.
Wibbly
It's-
wobbly, timey wimey,
Yeah.
sciency wincy.
But like, and it's same thing here. Like, it's at the center of a red hole. There is a compressed, like D20. Which I was like, wait a minute, are you just throwing in D&D because nerds? When he takes out the gem.
Yeah.
It was really cute though. But the idea that like he handed him water.
And he
Pill-like
says,
thing.
"Take this."
I think the best line is when he asks him, how do you keep a glass of water in your pocket? And he said, skills. I'm not going to respond to everything. That's how I do it. Skills? I don't know what you're asking. Those scenes were so fun to watch. And I agree. I like the way that they introduced the superpowers. I definitely thought it was going to be something alien related. I thought it would have something to do with the invasion, but the fact that this is something that just happened to occur, was really a cute way to do it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you're right, the teenage scene, that felt like he could have been Peter Parker in that scene. Like, we're setting up
Peter
some cool
Parker.
stuff.
The Spider-Man questions are so good.
Yeah.
What kind of powers? Vomiting? Hair loss?
Death?
It was
So
sort of
good.
weird to think about, like, I mean, the Doctor's very busy. He's 2,000 years old, but, like, that doesn't mean he's, like, he knows all the different pieces of, like, pop culture that have saturated the Earth over millennia. So, yeah, this might have been the first time he picked up a Superman comic, I guess.
Yeah. Kayla in the chat asks, why was the Doctor so confused that it was 25 years since he saw Grant? Did he forget that he could time travel or something? I think the things that need to be remembered are that, one, when he saw Kid Grant, he thought he was 36. So, like, he's not good with ages and people. And I think the other thing was that it was 24 years, which is how long a night is at the Singing Towers where he last saw River.
Yeah, I think it was more about the specific number
Yeah.
and the coincidence of it, reminding him of what he had just been through, basically, which was saying his final goodbye to River Song.
Yeah.
Last year's episode.
His final goodbye before he meets her for the first time.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
Timey-wimey. But yeah, so then we jump to old Grant, 30-something-year-old Grant.
Okay.
Well,
I'm doing the math and I can't. I can't, guys.
well, it was 24 years. He was...
We don't
He
know
was
how old he was.
8
Oh,
when we
8.
first met. Yes.
You're right, he did say that.
Yeah.
So that makes him 32.
32-year-old
Yes.
Grant.
I like the character that we're setting up here. He is sort of like a Clark Kent, Peter Parker, like, hybrid
Yeah.
thing, which is the exact two characters that they... Basically, it's like, who are the two most popular superheroes that we could base this guy on?
Well, I
Batman.
thought they had said that they wanted it to be Batman and Superman. I thought there was
I
a
think
Batman
that
element.
the ghost design.
Oh.
I
Sorry,
heard.
did Moffat not say?
No, I had heard that quote. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
The superhero version of him was supposed to be
Superman,
somewhere
Batman.
between Superman and Batman.
Yes.
So that's
Got
that's
it.
the dark colors, the gruff voice
Right.
to hide who he was.
That was so
But
funny.
like very much the Superman aesthetic of like the cape and the armor and
But the Grant was...
Grant was very clearly Clark
Clark
Kent
Kent.
and Peter Parker.
Yes.
Because that like stumbly like
I'm
Right.
just an anybody who can't talk to women. That,
yes,
which
that.
is kind of a offensive trope, but all right.
I mean, yes. My big issue with grown up Grant is how pathetic he was. It like bummed me out so much because like he effectively could have it all, but he chooses to like live this life where he's pining after this girl and like not able to share his feelings and like it's not even that he's a nanny because a nanny is a very respectable position. It's more that he's like a nanny for this lady that he's in love with and like that's the only way he could be with her in his mind and that like bums me out.
It's like I get that he has like they're set. They said this is where I start. Like again, like part of the stuff that I got frustrated with was this character just didn't seem fully developed.
Right.
This felt like my issues with the story was not that there were like bad things about it, sorry, but it felt like this was like a first draft or an early draft.
Yes.
And that it needed refining to like really get into who these people were and how they interacted in a way that wasn't just like the first thing that you think of when you put superheroes into a special.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, okay, so he's in love with her. He can't have her. He can't reveal who he is. And the whole thing like later on where she's in love, like she's in love with his superhero aspect, and like that was a cute
Right.
exchange. Like dialogue wise, I enjoyed that interplay. But it's been done so many times before, and it didn't change. It didn't offer anything new. That was like it didn't offer a different Doctor Who version of that story. It was
Right.
just retelling that story we're familiar with.
Yeah.
It was very weird that the ghost on the date was smooth and like he was funny and clever, and it was a really great interaction. But why is that all of a sudden with this mask, he's confident. Like, that's never addressed, that he has this confidence.
That's Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
No, I know.
Yeah. But you mean
I don't know
if
if
you wanted
know
it,
this, but I also watched
you wanted it
Superhero.
addressed. You wanted it addressed in the story.
Yeah. Like,
Okay. I'm just
Sir,
clearing it up.
sir, calm down.
All right.
Yeah, stop mansplaining, all right,
Thank
bro?
you.
Hey.
It's called nerd-splaining.
It's the other thing that was very interesting was the like scene where he keeps taking off the mask because he's gonna reveal himself. All of a sudden, I know I point this out a lot and it angers a lot of people, but I'm going to. But Lucy's character is a smart journalist. And I love the interrogation with the doctor. I'm a real big fan of, I wrote it down, Mr. Huffle, Mr.
That
Huffle.
was
Yes,
super
Mr. Huffle.
weird.
I love Mr. Huffle. I need one of these. I think that's such a great technique. She's clearly a smart, bright woman. But when she's on this date interview with the ghost and she realizes, oh my goodness, I'm in love with my nanny, and then does this whole pining thing where he's trying to reveal himself, I just don't believe that is how she would have behaved. I also don't believe that, like, it would have just clicked at that moment. And even if it did, she would have been professional.
Yeah, it took away from her as a strong journalist.
Yeah.
To have, to like break, like
can't
she's in
talk
front
to
of
you.
like this huge get
Right.
as of an interview. Like, yes, it is Grant.
Yeah, but for her career, this is huge. And
Yeah.
for her professionalism, the fact that she could get him is amazing. No one has this interview.
This is like Lois Lane. If she's supposed to be Lois Lane,
Yeah.
this is how Lois Lane becomes one of the biggest journalists
Right.
in the DC universe, is because she's the one who manages to break all the Superman stories and get those. She's the first one to get those
Mm-hmm. Right.
interviews. This is Lucy's chance, and she's like,
oh God, I'm in
having
love with my nanny.
a meltdown about how she's like got a crush on her, like if she just discovered that she has a crush on her friend.
Which is good for her. Like, go ahead, be in love with him, but finish your job.
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, if you think of it from a different perspective, in that
Please.
she
Mansplain it to me.
I will. So if you look at it from the perspective of they were actually on a date and it had nothing to do with her job, because she did wear the saucy red number. Then she was.
so a
Hold on.
woman can't get dressed up for her? Okay, go on.
No. But she was getting ready. She like from her perspective, she was getting ready to go to Pound Town, and then it's like being on the first date, and then you realizing that you don't want to be on this date because you like someone else. You know, so like from a date perspective, it makes sense. From a professional perspective, it does not.
So just to let you know.
Okay,
that
go ahead.
Usually, I would say an intelligent, professional woman on a date realizes she's not having a good time or wants to be with someone else or wants to end the date, does not behave like this.
Interesting. This is why I'm single. Ladies.
Anywho.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in their relationship that just didn't feel realistic.
Yes.
And that's the kind of thing that I know it's a fantasy science fiction show, so when we use the word realistic, it has to. It's a very loaded thing. But how people behave, like the way that people behave, is the main way that you get people into these kinds of shows. Like the relationships need to be realistic, so that the incredible farce around them doesn't like make it all feel fake.
Yes.
Right.
Like I
It
would
grounds everything.
Yes. Like
Sorry.
I would no, it's fine. I would have liked if, because they've established that they've known each other since high school. They got disconnected for a while. Big whoop.
And
But,
she
like,
forgot who. Hold on. They also said that she forgot who he was.
No,
Right.
she didn't
well,
forget who he was.
No, she remembered.
She remembered him.
But she fell in love with his best friend, which means that like they've been friends, and so like the fact that he calls her Mrs. Lombard is what kind of takes you out of it, in that they don't seem like they've been friends. They don't seem like they have a very casual relationship. Like I know he works for her, but like at the same time they should be closer, which is what should spark you being invested in their relationship.
Yeah.
And so like that's the one piece that's missing, is it's a cute reveal that she's one and the same with Mrs. Lombard, but it's not. But it's at the I guess cost of the deeper relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I just want to point out a part where the ghost was rude, because I made this note and I really want to make sure we don't miss it. Sorry, when we first meet the ghost and he picks up Lucy and he offers her a ride home, and he doesn't offer them a ride home. I was like, what a jerk! If I were her, I'd be like, you can just take me home, but you're not gonna take them home. That's really rude.
Yeah.
No.
Well, one, I mean,
He can't carry all of them. Yes, he can.
Though I would have loved to have seen him like with all of them on his arms, like just juggling them as he flies.
No, he's got Lucy in his arms, the doctor's on his back, and Nardal's like hanging from his foot.
Yeah.
But he was also looking to go to Pound Town, and so you can't take the third or fourth wheels.
Every time.
Hey, rim shot guy, keep it down.
I had a response to your. So right after he drops her off, and then like he's doing an interview. No, it was after the fire that he's doing the interview. Anyway, at some point he gets after he drops her off. I remember now. Sorry guys. He drops her off, and he gets like a beep, and she goes, "Oh, the bat signal is an app now." Except for that, every other time that he's called to the baby throughout the rest of the episode, it's the baby monitor.
Yeah.
That has an incredible range.
Yeah, which is fine. I'll believe that. He said it, I'll believe it. It's just that she went, "Oh, it's an app now." And then at no point did the app go off again. It was just the baby monitor.
Yes.
Just points.
I mean, it's.
I like the baby monitor thing was cute.
It was cute.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Then why bring in the app? Like, I get that it's modern, but like, it's unnecessary. I'm just picking at
Yes.
this. Just being picky.
She just heard a sound and was like, "Oh, it must be an app." Because I think so. Science says that that mothers can identify their baby's cry. So like, if she would have heard the baby's cry, then she would have been like, "Wait, that's my baby."
Yeah, but when he was on the news and she was watching it, and the baby monitor went off and he had to go.
Yeah.
I guess you couldn't tell because she was in the apartment with the baby.
Right.
It's fine.
Also, sound distortion from
Alright,
being on television.
Sorry. Sylvia in the chat says that I am correct and that she faked a headache in the middle of a date because it was not going well. Yeah. You're polite when you.
No, I know. I've had that happen to me. I know how it works.
You've got a headache? Yeah.
I've been called into work at 9:30 p.m.
What? Some of us have to work late, Zach.
Hey, don't lie to me. Just tell me you're in love with the other guy. Just tell me.
That's a true story.
Renji in the chat says, "I thought it was weird that he was calling her by her last name as the nanny. I think it was the fact that he lives there, that like he's trying to keep her professionalism so she doesn't get uncomfortable. I absolutely get the idea that he calls her by except that they are friends.
Yeah, it just felt a little bit heavy-handed. Like they've known each other since high school. We get the idea that he's this like awkward, uncomfortable guy who can't express that he loves this woman. He didn't have to be this pathetic.
Yes.
It felt like they went too far. And they made him a caricature instead of a character.
Right.
And that was my problem with him. Let's
real quick, just because it's important. Mr. Showtime agrees with me also. That's why it's important that details matter. Everyone else disagrees with me. So I just want to...
Wait, details about...
Everything that I'm being nitpicky on.
Oh, about the show?
I'm just being
nitpicky. We're nitpicky, but like it was also like... The show had issues like...
Right.
Bigger issues as well that we'll.
Are we going
we'll
to the slicey faces?
Yes, I want to talk about the slicey faces, or as I'm calling them, the Krangs. Because as soon as the eyes opened on the brain, all I thought about was Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who is a large brain. And yes, it doesn't look exactly like him,
right?
But it looks like Krang,
right? Because it doesn't have the little tendrils and the little mouth.
He doesn't talk like this. But it easily could be like Krang's cousins,
right? I mean, they are a race of aliens from another dimension, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it fits. And maybe that's what Moffat was going for, in that that it was originally a comic, and he's like, we're gonna put some comics in this
one
comic
more
stuff.
comic reference.
Yeah.
Amongst the many, many others. I liked this plot line as far as like a Doctor Who one. I didn't feel like it necessarily warranted being part of a Christmas special. It was an episode. It would have been a good episode. It didn't carry the weight that I come to expect from from like something you're going to make your special of the year.
It's interesting that you like it as a Doctor Who episode. You know where I'm going?
I do.
I don't.
Because they were, as the Doctor says, they were stage managing an alien attack when the aliens have already landed. And as you may recall, season 1, episode 4 and 5, Aliens in London Aliens in London and World War III, when they stage an alien attack because the aliens have already arrived. And why do they do that? To get all the heads of state, all the like important people into one place so they can take their bodies.
This is the Slovene episode.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
Yep. What an original Doctor Who episode. Thanks.
I hadn't connected.
Tauri connected it. I stole it.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's true. I mean, it was a larger scale.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, it was the same plan. But I think that I think that these villains were better in terms of like style and execution than the Slovene. So it was more of an escalation than a repeat.
So you're saying they didn't fart?
They didn't fart at all. Thank you, Stephen.
I also thought I thought Tauri was just pointing out that they have a bigger budget now. They can do cooler things. So like they don't unzip and have these giant creatures that I remember like watching a behind the scenes thing where like the props, the like prosthetic arm that they had to like use was different than the CGI figurine that they made. They like messed up. So now that they have budget, they can make their head split open.
Yeah.
Which, when I saw the guy's scar across his face, I went, that better be the same slicey face from last episode. Because if that is a different slicey face, then they missed an opportunity. And then when we saw the brains, I was like, it's a different slicey face. Luckily, it was the same.
I mean, I like the slicey face effect. It looked cool.
It was gross.
I liked hiding a gun in there. That was interesting.
That was dumb.
Yeah, it seems unnecessary.
Because if he had a gun, he would be dead by now. Right? Like, if the Doctor had a gun, then him waiting to slice his head open and pull out a gun.
Right, but
Dumb.
it's also there's the feint that like you're essentially throwing your opponent off with the shock factor, and then you're like quick drawing at them.
But he didn't
So,
quick draw.
He
He's like,
wasn't quick at all.
picking it
No.
out.
Oh, also, I gotta call this out because it bothered the hell out of me.
Okay.
When the villain the villain guy who like the CEO when he goes into the vault and the evil
Brock?
evil German guy is
Dr. Sim.
Yes.
Dr. Sim, evil German guy.
Yes.
Oh, you mean when they just let him die?
Yeah, this guy was clearly getting killed. And like, yes, I get that was a dick, but the Doctor just totally let him die and then walked away eating sushi.
Yeah, he was trying to eat his sushi, and
Yeah.
a death was gonna make him vomit.
It's true.
Gosh.
And I had like I had
Sushi
some
over
issues with
sabers.
the way the Doctor behaved, or at
was
least
like,
the
oh,
way
you
that the 12th Doctor behaved
Yes.
in this episode, because it never felt like 12. Like this is like 12 would let people like just like whatever, like I don't need to worry about them.
Are you talking about Matt Smith? Wait, sorry.
No, 12 as in Capaldi.
Okay.
You're saying Capaldi would not behave like this?
Yes, Capaldi's Doctor. This felt more like a Smith Doctor. Like the way that he behaved in this episode than Capaldi.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think it felt a lot more like a Tennant at the end of his run when he's furious with the world. Like Waters and Mars time.
Actually, to me, it feels like
This is the greatest conversation
well, yeah,
ever.
it's early Capaldi, like because when we yeah, I'll take you back to the episode where they shrunk themselves down and went inside the person's body. He actively was like, we have to let the antibodies get these people. They're already dead. We might as well just keep moving.
When he went inside the Dalek.
Yes, inside the Dalek.
Well, that, like, but, like, I'm not talking about this moment where he lets the guy die. That just felt weird. I just meant the whole episode. Like, did you feel like this was Capaldi? Like, Capaldi's doctor is very, like, and I'm not just joking when I say crotchety, but very much just like, I don't need to worry about these little people that get affected as I go. Like, he's focused on the bigger picture. He's like just going, like, and that's exactly that episode. And this was like, he's so invested in these people who he doesn't necessarily need to be.
Yes.
Who points out in the chat?
Yes.
He just lost his wife.
Yes, that was the point I was going
Take
to
it
make.
away.
Yeah, so he just lost his best friend, and then shortly after, his wife. And so, like, I think he's trying to preserve as much life as he can, which is a very doctor thing to do. Like, every time he loses someone, he's like, I can't lose another person. The world can't lose another person. And so he overcompensates.
That's fair.
Everyone's agreeing.
And like that's a fair point, but the episode never let us feel that moment with him. I want to see the doctor deal with that. I don't need to necessarily have it spelled out for us, but we never once got that emotion from him on screen.
I disagree. We got it at the end.
At the very end, and at that point, I checked out on a lot of this.
That sounds like a personal problem.
No, but like it's just like I needed that setup, like when we get started on the adventure, not just as like a tail end, like, oh yeah, and he's got to behave like the doctor should. Let's wrap this up here.
Right.
I don't think we needed it in that we got the explanation for it when he was talking to Nardal in the TARDIS, and he was like, you're running from your emotions, and every time that things get serious, you try to save a planet, and that's essentially what he's doing now. Is he's like, I'm back, I'm saving a planet, I don't need to deal with feelings. Feelings are for losers. Saving planets is for winners. I'm the doctor. Bah, 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 bah.
What does the doctor say?
Bah, 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 I'm the doctor.
Yep.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and then he abandons what's his head. That's his name now. What's his head?
Dr. Brock?
Nardal. At the
Nardal.
end,
What?
when Nardal says to them, he's like, I'll take care of him. Like, I totally take care of him. Like, we're going. Her name was River, and I'm going to take care of him. He's not alone. And then he leaves him there.
Wait, he leaves him there?
Yeah, because as we see, he's standing in the TARDIS alone, and it seems like he's waiting for what's his head. And then he has the scowly face, and then he just goes. Nardal does not get on the TARDIS.
Oh, I assumed he boarded off screen.
He left what's his head. What's his head?
Yes.
Nardal. And at least they explained, like, in one line, like,
Yes.
how... Because, like, when we saw the previews and he's running around, like, Matt Lucas is great, and I was excited to have him in this episode. I think he did a great job.
Absolutely.
I was like, hold on. Last place we saw him, his head was on a robot.
Yeah. He shared it with what was his name?
Protozoa?
That's it. He shared
Yes.
it with Protozoa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
At least they explained that the doctor went
Yes.
in and, like, sewed his body back together.
Yeah.
It was cute. I liked it.
I really
Yeah.
like him. I think
I
he's...
think he's great. It looks like we're gonna get more of him.
Yeah,
in
we
the season to
should.
come. And we'll talk about that trailer in a minute. And so I loved Matt Lucas in this episode. I think he did a phenomenal job. He was, I think, the standout part for me
Yeah.
of this. I mean, like, I don't need to keep being like crotchety old grandpa on this episode. It just to sum up my feelings about it, it just didn't. I wanted more emotion and more of a story about the doctor like we got last year. Like, that's the stuff that, like, if we're not gonna get because we don't have a new companion yet. So I get that sort of limits what they can do to a certain extent, and it sort of had to be a little bit more standalone. I would have liked a little bit more of an emotional journey from the doctor where he seemed almost extraneous to everything else that's happening in this episode. It didn't seem like it affected him in a big way, except to, like, see two people that loved each other. And that puts him just thinking about the thing we just saw him thinking about at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
He almost didn't need to be there for everything that's going on, and that's what, like, I think was the biggest flaw, is that it wasn't about the Doctor. And I wanted more, maybe it's just because we've been on such withdrawal.
Yeah.
I wanted more Doctor.
Yeah.
In this episode of Doctor Who.
I mean, I agree that I think I'd mentioned before the episode that it felt like two separate storylines. There was the superhero one, and then there was the brain one, and they barely met in any way, shape, or form. And so, like, I think that yes, we didn't get a lot of emotional stakes with the Doctor, but I felt like it was a very Doctor Who type episode with a lot of spectacle. It was, if this was a movie, you'd call it a popcorn movie as opposed to like an Oscar winner. And I think that's fine for a Christmas special because it's not part of any bigger storyline. It's just like this little piece that we get to explore and splash around and enjoy the Doctor. And then we get to move on and meet new people later.
I personally loved the superhero side of it. I would have been totally cool with an episode that was just that. Just this whole story of him explaining to Grant why he can't keep using his powers. And them fighting together and dealing with that.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Also, I felt like at the end when he left and Grant was like, and she was like, who? Doctor Who? And he said, Dr. Mysterio. And I was like, I feel like anyone who's seen Unbreakable knows that now he has to become his arch nemesis. I was like, it has to, he still has the powers, he's still on this planet, like, this would be amazing to come back where the Doctor is somehow the enemy.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Oh, that'd
That
be great.
could be fun. I know that it's Justin Chatwin, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Justin Chatwin. He said he had a lot of fun playing this part, and you could see that he had fun in
I
the
had
role.
fun with him in this role as well. Just to put that out there.
Charity Wakefield, who played Lucy, not American, which
no.
surprised me. She's British,
Yep.
which,
Yes.
like, I get it's Doctor Who, so you cast mostly Brits, but she did a very good job with that accent, flawless. There was one moment on the rooftop scene, if you go back and pause it, where she just she just is caught looking, like, rolling her eyes completely, like, at the end, it looks like it's like at like what they would cut out of the take, but like just before it cuts to another scene, she's just like, oh boy. It's really weird, so I can't tell her thought on it. But I would love to see Grant because I think that this character could be used very effectively in a bigger arc.
Yeah, he's almost like a trump card at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you call him over for, like, he could effectively, if they're building a new Strax Vastrogeny team, then it could effectively be him and Nardal and Bill. And we have this fun dynamic of, like, the dumb guy, the strong guy, and the fun companion.
One
So,
of
like,
the Krangs did get away.
That's
like, we
true.
stopped this bomb from exploding, but one of them got away.
Sylvia in the chat says that she also caught the eye roll. It's great.
It's there. I had to pause it and stare at it. I wish I'd taken a picture to
Yeah.
show you
That's
guys.
if we're
but yeah.
doing fun, silly things, I have to point out the shout out to the creators of Superman, Siegel and Schuster, when early in the episode, when the Mr. Brock is doing his announcement, he's like, blah, 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 this is Siegel and this is Schuster, ha, 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 ha. And the only reason why I caught it is because of that combination of names. If it had been in any way, shape, or form, I would never have caught it.
Yeah, without the first names, it just didn't even click in my brain when I heard it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all the little, like, comic book things they put in there.
Yeah.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about that preview that
Yeah.
we got for Series 10.
Okay.
This, I don't know what to think about this. I don't want to be negative. I love Doctor Who. I don't want to be negative. Let's start with you guys.
Okay.
What did you think about about
The trailer
about the
altogether?
trailer. Yeah.
All right, I'm very excited about the new season. I'm excited that it's coming in the spring and not in the fall. Like, I was really worried it's going to be back in the fall, so we'd have to wait till August. But no, we get to wait till the spring. So April, May-ish, right?
Yeah. And the rumor is April.
Awesome. There are a lot of questions also asking about class in the U.S., which is also, I believe, spring.
But they're both rumored to be coming in April. Basically, we think that the BBC America is planning to release Class like after episodes of Doctor Who. So because
To get us to watch
there was
it?
a thought, I guess, that like Americans weren't gonna watch it. So they have to like put it next to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Right.
I really liked the trailer. I like that it doesn't tell us anything. I was excited to see the faces. I was excited to see Bill. I was excited for Bill to be narrating.
Yeah, we can see picture number 12 just at the end. They introduced us to Bill. We've seen that.
Yeah.
We saw the Dalek thing last summer.
Yeah.
Which I believe is from, I'm assuming, from an episode of the season.
Yes.
Yes, we saw the scene in this trailer with the Daleks.
Right.
That looks like it's the same sequence.
Yeah.
So the Daleks are coming back.
That's a screenshot of Bill you decided to use.
I grabbed one at random.
She's still cute,
I'm
though.
so sorry to Pearl Mackie, who deserves better than this photo. I'm really
It's
excited
not
about
the
her.
only picture I have of her, but like, it was her first. I picked her first shot.
So a lot of people are complaining that she seems annoying, and I'll say this: the way the trailer is cut is her asking a ton of questions, which I think is trying to give us this fun personality, and not that she's an annoying person who asks a lot of questions.
Right.
What I'm hoping, and like the reason that this trailer didn't leave me excited, is what I've been wanting from a new companion. Because like, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you heard
Stormageddon.
You heard my Stormageddon, and
Yes.
my reasons for that were not just like my choice of that.
Stop
character.
trying to make Stormageddon a thing, Zach.
Hashtag we want Stormageddon.
Go on.
My reason for that were yes, I picked a random character because I thought it'd be fun, but like what I'm really asking for is something that I haven't seen before, and I'm worried that with Bill we might get just a slight variation on what we've had before with the sassy female companion who like gives the Doctor some sass here and there, but like I haven't seen anything yet from her that is anything new, and they still have plenty of time to show us that, but until they show me that, I'm not going to get excited about it, except for the fact that it's more Doctor Who.
I guess, well, my question to that would be, what is it that would be new? Like, because we've explored so many different aspects. We've had so many different companions up until now. We've had the love interest. We've had the best friend. We've had the rebound. We've had the equal. We've had the like reflection. Like, what else would you be looking for in a companion?
To be honest, Nardal is, and like if we go to picture 11, Nardal is going to be with us. He's new. That's different. In the interviews, like Capaldi, I believe it was Capaldi who was talking about the two of them. Like when you see them, if we show picture 11, like the two of them, when they enter a room together, there is the way that they said it is there's something distinctively alien about the pair of them, and that changes whatever circumstance you're going into. That's something new. That's what I mean by like, and I'm not sure what it is. Like that's to the writers to like give us something that I can't even imagine.
Right.
But like, I haven't seen these two enter a situation, and when you get to season 10, and that's just in the modern era. Like we just saw, like this episode shared a lot of similarities with another episode.
Right.
What you need is a completely different set of people and attitudes to approach the situation. So like these two entering a place completely changes it. And that's what I wanted to see.
So I agree with you. I think Nardal is a really fun character. It's a really fun dynamic to see them together. Moffat has claimed in a recent article, I don't know where it is, and I can find it and share it if people need it. He has claimed that the companion must be female in his eyes. He wants the Doctor to be male and the companion to be female. That's a thing he requires. So Nardal can never be the companion. He can travel with them, but he could never, to Moffat, be the companion. And I think I agree that this would be a really fun thing to see. I think the biggest problem is when you have them together, it's the Doctor telling this other guy what to do, and it's not a companionship.
Right.
It's the Doctor and his assistant, the way it used to be.
Maybe it's that we dig into. Maybe what I'm looking for is to pick up a companion from the recently returned Time Lords. And I know that I think it was it Seven that had a Time Lord companion. That alone is something different and interesting to give him a I get that Clara was supposed to be his intellectual equal, or his equal in terms of adventuring. That was the equal. That was how they presented her.
I was thinking of the Dr. Donna, who ended up being an equal.
Yeah,
they was also Moffat pushed Clara as
Amy was also kind of the equal too.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that a lot of them were equal to the Doctor in different ways. Moffat pushed Clara as supposing the Doctor has met his match. That was how he wanted us to see see her. But somebody who is knowledge of the time of the timescape, that would be something different. Let's take a look at some other stuff from this trailer. If we go to picture 9, there's some cool robot things that are emoji death robots is what I'm gonna call them.
They remind me of the girl who waited.
Yeah, a little bit.
Give you a kindness.
Oh god. And if we just go up through them, we see a picture of Nardal and Bill in spacesuits.
Yeah. There's that whole sequence with the spacesuits where...
Yeah, it looks like thankfully a lot of this looks like it's probably from similar episodes.
Yes.
We got a picture. There was a blue guy in a spacesuit who I'm guessing was similar to. He may or may not be related to Doria Maldovar. The guy who got his head put in a box during the Smith era. There's one picture that stood out to me. A lot of these look cool, but Steven, I believe it's picture number 7 is the one I wanted to really look at because it was just up for a second, but it's in the TARDIS.
Yes. And
there's a lot of people in this frame.
Yeah.
So you guys can see a little better. But we're clearly in the TARDIS. Yeah. There's this guy almost looks like a priest.
Yeah.
Who's got his hand on the Doctor's shoulder. The Doctor looks very despondent, staring ahead with the sonic sunglasses on.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
But
could just be sunglasses. He could be blind.
He's trying to hide his tears, bro.
But there's at least a dozen people in the TARDIS. Yeah. And I can't remember when, if ever, there have been that many people in the TARDIS. Oh wait, no, actually that happened happened recently. I take that back. I take that back, but it is never without a big there's never not a major circumstance. The Doctor does not want that many people in the TARDIS.
In the chat, we have Boo saying that River was the Doctor's equal. Pretty much everyone was equal to the Doctor by the end. And Daniel Droop says the 4th Doctor's companion, I don't know.
Ramona?
Okay. Ramona was a Time Lady. And Renji points out, have we ever had a companion become the Doctor's enemy? I would say the Master, but other than that...
I don't know. Would the Master ever really been his companion?
No.
They were enemies pretty early. But the Master, Missy as an extended companion would be... I just want more Missy.
Yeah.
But,
also, technically Martha became an enemy when she joined UNIT.
All right.
Yeah,
Technically.
All right. But the point is, a lot to get excited about.
Yes.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Even if I'm apprehensive about some elements of it, I'm very excited for it to come back because look, these are teasers. They could very easily prove me wrong on all the points that I've made, and that's why I'm gonna keep watching because I think that Moffat has saved some stuff up for his last season. That's why he asked for the extension. That's why he wanted to announce that it was his last year, not just figure it out afterwards. I think he has got some cards that he is pulling out. He's gonna give us a crazy end to the season starting whenever that comes back. This show will be back. Guys, I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. Also, I just came out with my first comic book.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's called Kid Cop. It's incredibly violent. Just mature warning on that. But you can get it on Comixology for digital download. We made it literally as cheap as they would let us, 99 cents. Go check it out. The link is on my Twitter and on my Instagram, which is all at that Zach Wilson.
Cool. I'm Yael Tygiel. You can find me everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I have a podcast. It is called Intimate Interrogations. It is free on iTunes and Stitcher. Sometimes it is filthy. Sometimes it is not.
And I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TauriJ. It's TAURIJAY. And later this month, I'll be back on the DC slate with Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow.
Nice.
Yeah. And we also do The Librarians.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been the Doctor Who After Show. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.